Rated mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast. Alright guys, welcome to today's show. Welcome. Guys, before we start the show off here, I want to allow the listeners to bear with the noise in the background, as we're not normally doing it inside the studio here where I live. I tried doing a recording before, and the software I use requires basically a high-speed internet connection, and for some strange reason we were getting a lot of lag issues in the recording. Not sure what's going on. I'm thinking possibly, hopefully, it's the software we use for the recording when we do our live, or excuse me, when we do our audio recording sessions, whether it's on Spotify, Google, or Apple. So hopefully the software that we use will be corrected later today, hopefully, because I can't continue to do this crap outside, literally doing this outside on my back porch here where I live. So I had to take everything out and literally put it right there, like the last 20-30 minutes I spent on doing this shit. So, guys, I do apologize if you hear background noise in the background, birds chirping, fucking everything, man. You know, like winds, the leaves, the cars. Hopefully we don't hear police sirens and everything else. But, you know, it's going to be a unique show, guys. Like I said, just don't mind the noise in the background. Hopefully you're not really hearing a lot. But, yeah. Guys, I hope everybody tuned into our Twitch stream yesterday and also Tuesday, as we had Jimmy on the show on Tuesday, and then we did another stream just yesterday for Startup Wednesday. So hope everybody came out to tune into those live shows on Twitch. We will be back on Twitch tomorrow for our audio-only podcast, which is going to be a good one. We do stream live on Twitch 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So make sure you tune us in to Crazy Friday tomorrow. With that being said, guys, let's get the show started. Let's get the blood flowing. Let's make some bad decisions together. Well, hopefully not, right? And let's see where it goes, guys. Welcome to today. Today is Thursday, March 3rd. Yes, March. We are in the month of March, guys. Hopefully everybody realizes that, right? So happy Thursday. Happy March 3rd, 2022. Just about headed into springtime. The cold air is basically evaporating, going bye-bye. Hopefully we get some warm spring air coming into the air, hopefully, of wherever you live, right? Whether it's on the East Coast, the West Coast, or in the middle of the country. Hopefully you're having a good day, guys. So let's get the party started, huh? Let's get the show started, guys. I want to get into this story here with Universal Studios Hollywood, right? Universal Studios in Hollywood, California, just in Los Angeles County, announcing that they will no longer require masks or proof of vaccination. I wonder why. All of a sudden, all the companies, the big box conglomerates are dropping the mask rule. Huh. I wonder why. After they forced the damn shit on our behalf for the last year and a half. Right? Ping on that one. Thank you very much. But I wonder why. I wonder why they're dropping the masks. Well, the rules change occurs in accordance with Los Angeles County expecting to drop its mask mandate tomorrow, March 4th. Right? Universal Studios, in a statement here from the Hollywood Reporter, is saying, guys, that the company will no longer require a mask or proof of vaccination to enter the park this Friday, which is tomorrow, March 4th. The rules change occurs in accordance with Los Angeles County expected to drop its mask mandate. Governor Gavin Newsom announced recently the state is moving past the crisis stage of the pandemic. The crisis stage? Very interesting. I can't wait for this, what this fucking article has to say here. That hence regulations would loosen, that masks are still strongly recommended while indoors at the popular LA destination. So they want to set the record straight here, guys, that if you're outside, you don't need to put on a mask or a mask. You don't need to, right? Did you hear me correctly, folks? You don't need to put on masks, whether they're 1 mask, 2 masks, 3 masks, a welding shield around your face. You don't need to put on all that crap anymore. That's silly crap. You don't need to do it anymore, according to the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. That they're moving past the crisis stage of the pandemic. They're hensing regulations, they're saying. They're going to loosen up the mandates. But they're saying that they're strongly recommending that if you're indoors while on property at Universal's Hollywood Studios, right, that you still should wear a mask if you're inside any facility while in that park. So basically, I'm assuming that if you're eating, right, you got to put a mask on. You got to cut the slit through the mask so you can eat, right, the overpriced food at Universal Studios. If you're in the bathrooms, you got to put a mask on, if you're taking a shit or you're pissing, right? If you're at the souvenir stands inside, you have to put a mask on. But if you're around thousands of people outside, you don't need to wear a mask. Huh. I wonder where the science is there, folks. Right? Prior to the change, Universal Studios guests were required to wear a mask at all times, other than when eating, and were required to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test for park entry. You don't need to show that anymore, because they're past their crisis stage, they said. Oh. I want to comment on that, where it says crisis stage. I'd like to know, like, how a company, CEO, management, supervisors, anybody, right? I'd like to know how they can determine that. Seriously. How can a company determine, that they can move past it? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not, like, agreeing with this whole crap. But, it's quite baffling to me, folks, that, we're at a point right now in society where we can literally loose the restrictions, so to speak, on all this mask political theater nonsense, right? Now, for the last year and a half, if we mentioned anything about masks, vaccinations, COVID, this, that, the variants, fact-checked, shadow banned, censored, blah, 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 right? We still are. Now, Does that apply for big box giants? Does it? It's a good question. I think that question needs to be asked. Does that apply for big box giants? Big box companies? When they decide to just say, we don't, we're gonna restrict loosen the requirements for masking. Do they get fact checked? Does their content come down on social media? Because if it does for us, why shouldn't it for them, right? Does everybody kind of go where I'm, kind of get what I'm going at here? Like what I'm trying to, try to explain here, try to elaborate on the show, right? Because for the last year, folks, we had to deal with this crap, and we still are. Almost 2 years into this crap, we had to deal with this. Restrictions, lockdowns, everything. We had to deal with all this crap. Now, if you say it on certain platforms, you get banned, or your content gets taken down. I wonder why. Maybe they don't want the truth out there, right? According to the article, folks, that at the Disneyland Resort in Orange County, masks are optional for guests in outdoor areas, but are required for the unvaccinated guests in all indoor locations, including throughout indoor attractions and indoor venues. Masks are required for all guests required of vaccination status in certain indoor settings, including Disney shuttles and in health settings such as first aid stations. So basically, if you're indoors, you still have to wear it. If you're outdoors, you don't have to wear it. So my next question is, I've been saying this for the longest time on this show. Why is masking required indoors, but it's not required outdoors? The air quality is the same indoors versus outdoors, is it not? Do you breathe the same oxygen levels? Do you breathe the same air indoors that you would outdoors? I mean, seriously, folks. You breathe the same fucking air inside of a building that you would do outside of a building. The air doesn't change, folks. There's just as many people outdoors that there would be indoors. An area, okay? Let me say that. An area. If you're in a small area, like a 12 by 12 or a 12 by 20, whatever, as an example, an area. That air quality in that area would be the same air quality that's in a building. It circulates around, just like it would circulate inside of a building. Does people not understand that? I mean, science really hasn't changed in the last 1,000 to millions of years, right? It's always stayed the same. Science never changed. The political world of it changed, but not science. Science has always been the same, never changed. It's always evolving, right? We're always learning new things in the scientific world, so to speak, but it's never changed, folks. It's never. Look it up. All my fact checkers out there, go ahead and look it up. You can look it up. I guarantee you'll find the same result that I'm sharing right now on the show. But it hasn't changed, folks. It hasn't changed. With that being said, guys, I want to get more into this story and others that are related to this story right back after we take this quick break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Got a really heated show on the Patriot Angle podcast today for y'all. Be right back after these words. Hey guys, this episode today is brought to you by our good friends at StreamYard. What is StreamYard? Well, it's a web browser made to connect easier and simpler. StreamYard Broadcasting, guys, uses a web browser type of software to connect with your friends. Possibly you're a podcast host and you're trying to look for a platform. Look to StreamYard Broadcasting, guys. It's easy. It's simple. Plans starting as free up to $29.99 or on their business scale. So if you're looking for a new platform for your podcast, for your music production, for just about anything, look no further to StreamYard Broadcasting. It's easy, guys. We use them here on the Patriot Angle podcast. We love them. StreamYard. Love them. They have a lot of good features, such as background music, such as banners and brands to make your next podcast episode or anything more professional, guys. With their overlays, their background, everything is on StreamYard. So head over to StreamYard.com and sign up today, guys. All right, guys, we're back to the show. Back here, I'd take a quick little break. Today we're talking about how a lot of big chains are easing the mask mandates. They're lifting them, not requiring their employees and a lot of their upper management to require the masks. They're just literally just dropping, and I mean, is this anything new, guys? I mean, is this surprising to most people? I've been saying it for a year, literally saying this shit for a year, that, most big chains will loosen the mask mandates. They're going to come to that point. And here is that point. Here we are as a society where, we're literally, more frustrated with this thing, angry, upset at times, confused, questionable about all this shit. And here we are now in our society where we're starting to question masks. We're starting to question vaccine, medicine. We're starting to question all this crap, So it's not surprising to me, folks, that, you're starting to see this in companies that are just like literally, saying, bye-bye to the masks and, trying to go back to somewhat of a normalcy here in the country. So, but, there are some companies, some big chains that are keeping masks optional for even vaccinated shoppers. They're allowing that freedom, so to speak, for their shoppers that are vaccinated, that maybe want to put the mask on their face. Okay, to each his own. If that makes you feel good, go ahead. No one's stopping you. You want to put a mask, you want to put 3, 4, 5, 6 masks on, you want to put a welding shield over your face, which I see a lot of people with the plastic welding shields. If you want to do that, by all means, go ahead. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you happy, go ahead. Whatever floats your boat, so to speak. As my mother once said, when I was a little boy. Whatever floats your boat. If it makes you happy, go ahead. But we're talking about here in this one topic here that several companies, such as Walmart, Costco, Kroger, Walgreens, CVS, Home Depot, and Target, allow fully inoculated customers, those who are 2 weeks past receiving their second Pfizer or Moderna dose or the single shot of Johnson & Johnson vaccine, to shop mask-free as long as doing so does not violate state or local face covering mandates, according to their policies, according to the CDC, according to the federal government. That's the statement that was just basically put out here by the AARP.org website, which is also AMPprojects.org. It's a statement. But we also know, folks, that most big chains have dropped the mask mandates for vaccinated people after the CDC said back in May of last year that those who gotten the shots could safely forego face covering in public places. That was back in May. The CDC released that statement. Now the federal government agency revises its recommendations. Now that was back in May of last year. Now I touched on the Disney World and the Disney World and the Universal Studios Hollywood out in California, that the governor had lifted that. Literally lifted in his entire state. You can go mask-free, apparently vaccinated or non-vaccinated. You're allowed to literally walk amongst yourselves without a mask outdoors. But if you're indoors, vaccinated or not, you still have to put a mask on if you're indoors. Okay, so here we are right now. Just mentioned something. Back in May, the CDC said that if you are fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. Right? You can shop amongst yourselves without a mask. That was back in May, folks. I mean, argue about the argument yourself if you want to, but there goes that science part again, folks, okay? And I know I'm probably going to get fact-checked. I'm probably going to fucking he's a conspiracy theorist, like all that shit. No, folks, it has nothing to do with conspiracy. It has to do with labeling a statement. Now, remember we were talking about science earlier in the show? Here's that point again. Let me make that point crystal clear to everybody. How does science change from May of 2021 to the point we are at now in life? March 3rd, 2022. Almost a year later. How can you change science? It doesn't change. The science is the same, no matter how you look at it. 3 ways, 6 ways, 4 ways to tomorrow, right? 7 days to Sunday, right? I mean, you get where I'm going with this, right? It doesn't change, folks. The political aspect of it, that changes. The political narrative of that changes, not the science. Science is always going to be the same. It's the political narrative, the political agenda. That changes, folks. See, this whole thing, they want to see where they want to take it, okay? Literally. I've been saying that since the beginning of all this shit. They want to see where they're going to take this at. They want to go from level to level to level. They're making it more political than looking into it as a scientific base. Because like I said, and I'll say it again, the science hasn't changed. The political agenda, the political poll, the political message, however you want to see it as, that has changed. And it'll always change. And it'll continue to change. Because it's on them, folks. It's on the government, the CDC, it's on all these people. They are in control of how they want to literally manage this whole thing. You can use the words dictate this whole thing, right? I've seen people label it as that. It's all on them. It's all on them on how they want to literally control this thing. Okay? That's how it's going to be. Okay? Now that brings me up to my next point. That out of all this shit that we're discussing right now on the show, Patriot Angle Podcast, okay? I want to get into this next topic. And this is probably going to be my closing right here, okay? I didn't really want to get into a long, heated discussion here on the show, but this is going to be my closing right here. I want to allow the listeners to literally understand something about all this, because I'm sure you're not going to hear this on mainstream. I'm sure you're not going to see this in social media. I'm sure a lot of even political hosts will not touch on this material. I'll explain it. I have no problem touching on this material or even expressing the content so you can understand a lot better, because I'm sure the confusion levels are still there. There's a lot of people scratching their heads with everything. You know, like everybody getting a little guppy for their buck, right? Like, oh, the federal government is lifting, right? Gotta use the words loosely. The federal government, the CDC, the companies, the retail places, the this, the that, everything. They're lifting the mask mandate. So everybody's getting all, happy for joy, because we were put into a fucking isolated bubble for the last almost 2 years. So everybody's literally jumping on their joy. And I'm sure the liberal machine will be literally, smiling to the bank to the end of Sunday, saying, it was Joe Biden that defeated the virus. He literally defeated the virus. He defeated COVID. He's lifting the restrictions. He's lifting the mandates. Come on, folks. Do you know where we are right now in the political specter of all this? The fucking midterms are right around the corner. No shit that they're lifting it. Did I not say that? Did I not say that back in January? Did I not say that back last year around the end of the summer going into the fall? Did I not say that? That by the midterms this was all going to go bye-bye? I even said it to people. Now I'm starting to sound like a broken record. I even mentioned this to people that looked at me like I was fucking nuts for the last 2 years. Oh, you're nuts, Mike. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not a scientist. Has nothing to do with science. Has to do with common sense. If you've seen the common sense morale through this whole thing for the last 2 years, you would completely understand where I'm going with this. You would. I mean, like I said, it has nothing to do with common sense. Or excuse me, it has to do with common sense, right? Let me correct myself. Slow down, right? It has nothing to do with science. It has to do with common sense and how you see it. We've lived with this thing for nearly going on 3 years, if you want to, play the math correctly. They're loosening the restrictions, the mandates, because of the midterms. This was never about a virus. This was about a control factor. I've been saying it since friggin' the campaign between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. This was a big, fuck you to the American people. This was a big, get even Steven type of scenario against the Trump administration. Now, a lot of yous might disagree on that. And a lot of yous might say, wow, Michael here on the Patriot Angle Podcast is starting to make some sense. I hope so. And I hope you're starting to see the logic out of all this. A lot of people are even starting to see the logic out of all this. The liberals are starting to even see it. The Democrats, right? Democratic cities are just kind of not even saying anything. They're just kind of like literally ignoring their own policies, their own mask mandate policies, right? As you can hear in the background, for those who didn't hear me, I mentioned earlier in the show, I am doing this show outside, recording this session outside for our audio podcast, Spotify, Google, and Apple. So you may hear some background music and background noise, however you want to put it. We're having some technical difficulties inside the studio I normally do at my house here. Seems to be having a lagging issue with the software we use for our recording inside. Thinking it might be an updating problem or what, but hopefully the software we use will be corrected by the end of this day. Had to go into the hard, so to speak, of the of another recording software to use outside on a mobile base. So I do apologize for that. I hope the audio is coming in pretty crystal clear. I think it is. Hoping you can hear me pretty good, and I'm hoping you can hear the plugins, the video plugins, the clips, the sound clips I've been plugging into the show here. But guys, if you cannot see this, then I'm sorry. You're just as naive as you once were 2-3 years ago. But here goes into my next closing topic here, because we're running low on time here. I want to make this short. I want to make it sweet, and I want to make it simple, so for everybody to understand. Again, this was not about a virus. This was about control, a power trip for the Democrats. And Laura Ingraham said it very, very comfortably on her show the other day. If you tuned into the Ingraham report, right? Laura Ingraham. If you tuned into her on Fox, what was it, about 3-4 nights ago, she made a very, very crystal clear point on all of it, similar to what I'm saying. That's why the masks are going bye-bye, because they failed on COVID. The American people are starting to wake up, and I'm so glad that they are. I'm so glad that they're willing to fight against the tyranny in this country. And I'm glad that we're getting our country back. I'm glad our freedoms and liberties are slowly by slowly coming back. And this silly nonsense of masking and social distancing is going bye-bye. Because we're not that type of country. We're not third world. This is the United States of America, the greatest country on the face of Mother Earth. So, let me plug in this little bit here. It's a short little bit. The bit is 4 minutes, but we won't go to the 4-minute mark. A little bit before the 4-minute mark. Check out this bit here, guys, about what we're talking about on the show with mask mandates expiring. Businesses bet on their own policies. Businesses are going to their own policies now, right? Some are just ignoring, the mask mandates in their own state, and they're just like they're practicing their own policy. I think that's great. Hey, to each his own, right? Check this out, guys.
Connecticut plus the District of Columbia are set to roll back mask mandates this week. The CDC has new guidance showing infection rates low enough that about 70% of Americans can now consider removing masks. But as NPR's Yuki Noguchi reports, some businesses are still uneasy and making their own policies.
Connecticut's statewide mask mandate goes away this Tuesday, but not within the four walls of Stacy Glazier's salon.
Because I'm a private business, it's my rules. It doesn't matter what the town or the state says. It's my rules.
Glazier left her old hair salon and opened a one-woman shop in Hamden during the pandemic. She figured it would be safer. Plus, she tired of losing money every time stylists got exposed.
I don't want to have to close my business again, and I do not believe we're out of the woods. It would be irresponsible and foolish.
Most clients understand, she says. She's parted ways with those who don't.
I did have a client that tried to give me some pushback. His wife is a nurse. She's a COVID nurse, and he was giving me a hard time about wearing a mask in here.
As of March 1st,
She's a COVID nurse. You give me a hard time. Hey, lady, let me say one thing here, okay? That is our God-given right, her patriotic American right under the Constitutional Bill of Rights of America, that our 4 founding fathers risked their lives to get passed, signed, and put into law. That is her right. If she wants to question it, that is her free speech rights under this country to question anything that she desires to be questionable. That's her right. If she doesn't want to wear a fucking muzzle on her face, that is her right. Stop dictating other people on their opinions. Do we dictate your opinions? No. Some of us just simply just smile and just say, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's what I've been doing for the last 2-3 years. Yeah, whatever. You want me to put a mask on my face? No problem. But it ain't gonna be me. I sure as hell ain't gonna put nothing on my fucking face and spread more germs around my damn face. Nah, I'm good. COVID misinformation, right? That's what you get. If you say anything about that, you get fact checked, fucking shadow banned, your content gets taken down, this and that. But God forbid if you say something else, it's okay. That is the opposition that is running this country today, folks. That is the crap, the poison. The true poison of this country is the misinformation, and it's not coming from the Conservative Party. I can tell you that right now. The misinformation is not coming from the Conservative Party. It is coming from an entirely different base, and you and I both know what that base is. Or at least some of yous, I think, would know that base. But, you heard the bit here I plugged into the show with this Connecticut hair salon, nail salon, stylist, whatever you want to call it, questioning a client, saying that she didn't want to put a mask on, right? She don't want to put a mask on, She don't want to put a mask on. Well, whatever. Why are you upset? You're upset, I get it, because you're going to be losing her as a customer, a client, right? That's probably one of the reasons why a lot of businesses, they don't want to get shut down. They don't want to, close their doors. Because they see what this pandemic, this plandemic has done to their business in the last 2-3 years. It's killed their revenue. So did you hear, I don't know if you paid attention in that one part of the bit, where she's like, I don't want my shop to close again. Okay. Well, if you don't want it to close again, maybe you should practice better business practicing. Maybe you should listen to your gut, ma'am, instead of the federal government. Maybe you should listen to yourself more than having corrupted Uncle Sam, right? Because I call him the corrupted modern Uncle Sam, dictate on how you should live your life. Because 200-300 years ago, when this country was being developed, did we even have an idea in this country that we were going to dictate and control our citizens? At first, I will admit, we were wrong as a country with, certain aspects of it, whether it was slavery, whether it was, different aspects during the 13 original colonies. That I do is wrong. Would admit that was wrong. Okay? But as a country, as we evolved over the last few hundred years, we had sided from all that and became more independent. Fast forward to 2019 going into 2021, we decided to go down the yellow brick road again and become that society as a country, to be more isolated, more unsocializable as a country, right? Less friendlier, controlling and everything else came out of the government once again. So yes, we did go down memory lane, the yellow brick road, and we became that country again. As people are starting to understand about this whole pandemic, that it wasn't never about a virus, it was more about control factors than anything, you were starting to see some states, a lot, literally going to their own business practicing and their policies regarding COVID and taking matters into their own hands. They don't want to get shut down, folks. They don't want to close their doors. They want to stay in business. Kudos to them. Hold on. Kudos to them for standing up and believing what they think is right and fair. I've been saying this, preaching this on this show for the last 2 to 3 years about all this silly nonsense of crap. Should you protect yourself against bacteria and viruses? Yes, absolutely, 100%. I'm on that. I'm with that. Okay? Should you practice good hygiene? Yes, absolutely, 100% correct on that one. Should you wash your hands often? Yes. Should you avoid people that look sick or terminally ill? Yes! Why is it so hard to not understand that? Why is it so damn hard to literally second question ourselves and listen to more of the fucking government than we listen to our gut? Do we really need Uncle Sam, the government, modern Uncle Sam, not old patriotic Sam? Patriotic Sam is retired. He's no longer there anymore. Now we have a corrupted, more selfish Uncle Sam that runs this country. Should we have to listen to this modern Uncle Sam that's more corrupted than anything, his corrupted cousin, telling us how to fucking live our lives? Do we need to be explained how to wash our fucking hands? Stay away from sick people? No, we're common adults. We're grown-ass women. We're grown-ass men. We don't need to be explained like a fucking 5-year-old child. Wash your hands for 20 minutes. Or, 20 seconds under lukewarm water. Avoid sick people. What are we gonna go live in a bubble like that movie Bubble Boy and walk around fucking town in a bubble? God, I can actually see that happening, to be honest with you. So as we close out the show, talking about this one segment in the show that Tuesday, Connecticut's mask mandate ends, though not within the 4 walls of Stacy Glazer's hair salon. She's gonna keep forcing people to put the mask on, right? Oh boy, I tell you. Because like she said in the comment, she's a private business. It's her rules. Oh, okay. Good luck with that. See how far it goes there. I wish all you the best in your future endeavors. But you know, I don't know. I don't know, folks. I just, you know. In a statement released by the CDC now says that it's relaxed its mask guidance. That's going to do this this Friday, tomorrow, March 4th. Advising that nearly 70% of Americans live in a place where it's okay to skip face coverings. Oh, it's okay now. It's okay because the cases are dropping like literally day by day, week by week, month by month. You don't see no more COVID scoreboards on the mainstream media, studio platforms, right? You don't see any of that. It's okay to skip face coverings. Much of the country had already moved on from the mask mandates. Yeah, they moved on, folks. They stopped sipping the Kool-Aid. They threw the Kool-Aid away. You know, and they're like, fuck this. We're not going to be a mask society. We want our freedoms and liberties back. I don't blame you. Recent polls show that the country close to evenly split over mask mandates, mostly along party lines. Yeah. You notice that those stadiums and arenas are back to 100% capacity, right? So if it was as serious as they thought it was, folks, come on. Those so-called COVID super spreaders that were like literally bashed on us from the federal government and the mainstream media. You notice that they're not saying the super spreaders anymore. It's a super spreader. Right? They don't say that anymore. So in effect, many restaurants, folks, and corner stores are navigating their masking policies based on personal choice or risk tolerance. What I mean by that is, for the public, that means encountering a potential patchwork of masking on the job and in daily life. This is something that comes up in almost every conversation I have with just about everybody that tunes into the show. They always ask me the same thing, and I give them the same answer. To each his own. You want to put a mask on, you want to make yourself feel happy, and you think you're practicing safe measures, by all means, go ahead. Mask up. Put 1, put 2, put 3. Put the plastic welding shield over your face. Think that you're saving yourself. When in all reality, you're really not. You're breathing in just as more toxins and more bacteria than ever before. It's a circulating vacuum, right? But then I hear from the liberal machine that, surgeons wear masks. They wear masks, yes, you're absolutely right. But they wear that same blue surgical mask not because of droplets of a sneeze or a cough. They wear it for droplets of blood shatter. It was made for that. Not for what they think it was made of. But what do I know, right? I'm just a podcast host, right, guys? Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's been a great just about an hour right here on the podcast. For those who enjoy listening to the podcast episodes, you can find me on Spotify, Google, or Apple, as well as our new home on Twitch, which we have live streaming on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you're going to want to check out Twitch. It's completely free. You don't have to download it. But I do strongly advise people, if you like my content, hit that follow or subscribe button. Consider possibly support the show. It helps out. And also, too, guys, if you want to join our Twitch shows, which we hope you do, leave a comment in the live comment box that we have on the streaming. Also, you can find me on YouTube. Yes, we're back. We're back on YouTube. We're out of YouTube jail, which we're slowly putting a lot more content on YouTube. After our week in jail, we posted the bomb the other day, which was great. YouTube let us out of jail for the, shadow banning. And also, too, guys, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, The Patriot Angle Podcast. Our Instagram account, which we post a lot of content on. Patriot_Angle_Unfiltered. Make sure you hit that follow button on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, as well as our websites. We have a merchandise website, PatriotUnfiltered.com, for all your official unfiltered merchandise of the Patriot Angle Podcast, as well as our general official website of the show, PatriotAnglePodcast.com. You can find a lot of unfiltered, uncut, raw material of content on that website, as well as past and current episodes, guest appearances that's been on the show, and a lot more, guys. With that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle Podcast, an Anchor platform.